Hello, everybody. Welcome to the first edition of Hobby Hike. Now, I've just barely gotten myself ready and to go live. So, apologies. It may not be the smoothest ever, but I hope for anyone who's watching, you'll find some value in this. And if you like it, please leave us a comment. Do come in future, interact with us, and let's see how we go. I can see my lovely son have left me a fantastic subtitle there. I love Papa. That's right. So normally our channel level of the leagues, we do unboxing, Age of Sigmar playthroughs or board game playthroughs, generally anything to do with exciting Kickstarter stuff. That's how we got started. Now, why we're doing this kind of video is because we thought, well, I thought this hobby is so therapeutic and fun and it's amazing. I wish more people would be exposed to it so everyone can have a good time, not just a lucky few of us who have discovered this hobby. An example is Henry Cavill. You guys probably all know him as Superman. He's really into 40K as well. Painting and stuff, it's real. It's a lot of fun. And it's a part of saying thank you back to the community through YouTube, this kind of platform. We hope to bring this to other people to enjoy. So as part of this, I don't know how much value this is going to add for everyone. So let me give some context into this so you know what you'll be sitting in for the next 20, 30 minutes of the show. So what we plan to do is I would like to go through a roundup of the plastic hype in this hobby space to do with Age of Sigmar, Warhammer, and other Kickstarter projects. I think is interesting and exciting. I'm just paying it forward because how I came to this hobby at the beginning was because there's some individuals who come up with content and put them online and talk through what to buy, what not to buy, what's interesting, what's exciting. I mean, when you first get into this space, it's so overwhelming. There's so much stuff going on, so much bling bling. Everyone says there's the best ever, and they hype things up, and it's hard to know what is a real good hype. I mean, value for money for us as a consumer versus what the marketing people say. So this is like paying it forward. Hopefully, it will help someone out there. And another part of this is I think it's fun and interesting for me to share my hobby journey, and also for maybe other people to watch, as in get them a little bit inspired by what is possible, in the sense that when I started a project, I've always wanted to document the progress and the process of the project, but I never get around to it, and then I miss the opportunity. An example of this is I just started a Sylvaneth army back in December. And in the back of my mind, I was thinking, you know what? Let's make a project. Let's do a YouTube series on it. And of course, I never get around to it. There's always an easy excuse for it, right? So yeah, I hope through this series of videos that we get to do a bit more of that. And as I go through in the process, let's say, for example, painting a 3K army or a 4K army, and then use 2K of it, of course. Um, can be a very daunting experience for a lot of people who doesn't have friends to introduce you into the hobby. So maybe I can be a part of the force for good in the community to show you it's not that hard. And I might fail at it terribly. And yeah, so you can give me that feedback as well. Um, but that's the general idea. And I remember how I started the board game hobby was through Zombicide. I want to get my son more involved with playing board games as opposed to video games. Like, we don't want everyone to be glued to the screen, even though, video games, computer games are great. And I started painting a Zombicide a board game, Zombicide Black Plague. And at the time, I had no idea what to do, where to start. And having the ability to follow someone on YouTube to paint the zombies really helped me. So I hope this kind of content would help people. I know I'm not going to be the best at it. I'm not the best painter ever, and I'm probably not the best most well-informed person in the board game space or Age of Sigmar space, but this is my view, right? This is our view that we hope to share with you, and hopefully you'll pick up one or two of the gems. Yep. Hey, Josh, good to see you. Hi. Yes. Hope to have you with us in the future. All right. And then so let's go through what's different about what we want to talk about on the show versus other shows out there because there's plenty everywhere. I kind of want to focus this from a newcomer's perspective because I have played probably less than 15 games of Age of Sigma. I still consider myself a newbie. I'll talk about an experience I had recently just at a competition. Like I had no idea what was going on in my first game. Feel sorry for the person who was playing me. Thank you, Sam. Sam was playing OCR Bone Reapers, for people who know them. And yeah, I was a mess. So I mean, I still consider myself a new player, but I really enjoyed the hobby. So I want to present some of these discussions in the view of a newcomer. And I guess as I grow, and if you guys are watching with me, we can grow together, right? Through from newcomers being more experienced, and then I guess being Hall of Famer. Some of you might be. I don't know if I will have to be like that and go and play and represent your country in international tournaments. Who knows? But you know, we'll start small. And the key distinction would be I won't use so many jargons and special terms that new people would know about. Like when I first started hobby, if I didn't know it, I wouldn't use them here, or at least I'll try my best not to. Now, you have heard me say a few times already, so let's be clear. My hype, my plastic hype that I want to share at the moment, my passion, it's mostly uh, miniature board games or war games. So that's why the series is called Miniature Wargamer, Board Gamers Hype. So I'll give you a roundup of what's going on. And that's all on Age of Sigma, not 40K. Sorry, guys. Sorry, Josh. One day, I might get into 40K or 30K. But for now, just Age of Sigma. One system is enough for me. I mean, one big system is enough. But as well as Age of Sigma, I mean, we also do Kickstarter stuff. Me and my friends, we love that stuff. Me and my son really love and enjoy the process of picking a project to back, watching it grow, and then receiving the goods and then play it. So if there are cool stuff that I found, I think it's cool, I will try to share them as well. Now the whole show, it's gonna be, relatively condensed, so I already spent 7 minutes talking about, introduction to whole show, whole series. I guess this is the first time I'm doing this. I need to go through that, otherwise you don't know what you're watching, and I think there would be a disrespect, for you viewers out there, so I'm just gonna do this, one time. In the future, I'll just follow the format and bang, bang, bang. So it's a short, hopefully concise, roundup for what I think is interesting that's gone on, in the past in between sessions. Now, at the moment, I'm thinking to do one of these every 2 weeks, around it every 2 weeks, and then every other week, I would invite a guest on the show and to talk about the hobby in different aspects for us to enjoy. Because I think the hobby is actually really fun, and it's double the fun when you can have someone to share with it, like to talk through some of the hype, how some of the new combos, new mechanics, new plastic, new sculpts that's coming out. I think that's super cool. So we'll try to do that. So it'll be every 2 weeks we do a roundup of what's going on, and then every week in between we have a guest to talk about an aspect of the hobby. So that's gonna be a thing, and then I'm also gonna be sharing what I've been working on. So I mean, I highlighted before if I'm working on an army, I'll share that. So I mean, if you do follow the show, or maybe if you join us 1 year in the future and start, watching back, I'm projecting the vision here. You might be able to see the progression of what we've done. Um, so I thought that might be interesting. And if not, I mean, if it is or if it isn't, let me know. Yeah, put it in the comments. Give us some feedback, and I'll know what to do with it. And then I will also try to share a couple of hobby tips every one of these shows. I mean, every second week, I'll try to put a couple of tips in there. Uh, Well, they are tips for me. I don't know how good or bad they are. Well, let's see. Well, you have a look and you tell me. And then, I'll also do a quick shout out of the resource that I really enjoy in the community in the hobby, for you guys to enjoy. And then just to wrap up what I'm most or me and my, co-host, what we are most, hyped about. Alright, so, first up, let's have a look at what's new in the world of Age of Sigmar. Okay, so this is new. I'm gonna try to put a presentation. Okay, that failed before. It said the file was too big. Ah, okay, I put too many images on. My bad. Alright, okay. So I'm gonna take a moment to do this. In the future, it'll be smoother. Prom promise. Promise, promise. Uh, okay. Okay, alright. So, right now we should be looking at Warcry. So Warcry Bloodhunt is out. So that's an extension to the previous big Warcry 2.0, Heart of Gur. And, in this current release, they're having a new set. That's the picture I took from Warhammer Community in the background. So it's got some new terrains, a few new warbands. Now, what I'm most keen about, most hype about in this Warcry box are the warbands are cool. So I think comparing to what they had before, like, for example, if I go back to Catacombs, um, the warband for the Daughters of Cain was kinda cool, but it I would never use it. I would never use it on a tabletop in the War Age of Sigmar game. But, talking through the units in here, the new, Soulbright Gravelord, I'm not saying the names right, butchering all these syllables because maybe I'm nervous. So here we go again. The So Blight Gravelord, new units. They're actually cool. So I was talking about it with Josh the other day, and, just working out the stats and what they do. I mean, if I was running, SGB, I would totally run maybe even a couple of them, or maybe up to 3, because making people strike glass and having decent stats on those models is cool, and they didn't point it in the way that's totally attainable. I mean, previously, when the last Catacomb box big set came out, uh, the Daughters of Cain unit was like 290 or something ridiculous like that. It's like a unit you would never put on the table. So I think it's cool that they're doing this. Now, in terms of the rest of the box, I'm not so hyped about. I mean, I'll be honest with you. Uh I think some of the terrain is cool, but it's not as good as the original Heart of Gur, from my opinion. And I mean, I have way too much terrain already, so I'm not too hyped about the terrain, but I love the new warbands. So there you go. If you're out there looking for a new Warcry box or a new small box to buy, this may not be a bad way to start. Yeah. Okay. All right. Next one. Super hype on Total War. I know it's not strictly Age of Sigmar, but it is to do with Age of Sigmar, right? So uh, Warhammer 3 Total War, for those who don't know about this, this is a computer game. Total War's been doing this, for years now. So Total War, Warhammer 2 was one of my favorite, uh, RTS all time, and now 3 is out. It has been had a few bumps, and, when they released, the beta of Immortal Empires, it was good, yeah, but there were still things to iron out. I already finished a couple of campaigns on that, and now it's officially out. Now, I took the screenshot again from the community page. I think it's super cool because I play, Stormcast Eternals, and so Sigma, yes, City of Sigma, I might have to go back and do this campaign. So that's super cool, and for those of you who is hyped about Total War Warhammer 3, maybe this is a chance to crossover into Age of Sigmar. Now, there's another reason why I brought this up, because if it wasn't for Total War series, like the Total War 2 that I really enjoyed so much, I may have never gotten to Warhammer, Sig so there you go. For the people who really enjoy, the Total War series, you might, find yourself enjoying Age of Sigmar as well. Okay, now this one I'm really hyped about because, the Stormbringer magazine is out. I mean, they had a big picture of a lot. more models. I think there's sites like, Spiky Bits, looking at the models and what potentially you're gonna get already, so I'm not gonna talk about here. Um, I'm just gonna talk about the hype of this, the hype of this, offering. So it's officially out in the UK now. They were beta testing it before. I mean, they were beta testing it for UK before, and I say that with quotes is because I think this release in UK is kind of beta testing for the rest of the world. If they do well there, they may bring it out to the rest of the world, like here in Australia. And what's gonna be cool is, um, they are gonna use models that I think are actually cool. Like, for example, they're putting Gardas in the back. Gardas is super cool. Like, I mean, the last big piece um, in the last magazine set, I think Prime was probably my favorite one. I mean, Prime's cool. That's Salson Prime, that is. Prime's cool, but I wouldn't he's not that great to fit in the list compared to Gardas. Gardas is amazing. The fact that they're putting this guy, they can easily sell for 50 or $60, into magazine. I think that's super cool. Of course, it doesn't just end with Gardas. They've got some big pieces for the crew boys as well. So okay, Crew Boys is an interesting one. I don't know if, they're gonna revive the Crew Boys or not by releasing the magazine. Maybe. I mean, people would get hyped of it, and, I mean, the magazine does give it more backstory and how to paint it and easing people into the hobby, so I think that's cool. We might see a lot more Crew Boys flowing out into the marketplace later. Um I don't know whether that would prompt, Games Workshop to improve the rule set for Crew Boys yet again, and if that does happen, it might bring it to but, the Stormcast part is amazing. Terrain's good, and the key piece in this for the Stormcast set, besides Garden, are the Storm Drakes. So they're gonna have Storm Drakes here, and Storm Drakes are, I don't know, $150 here in Australia. There's just the box itself, and they're gonna include the magazine. That is super cool. Now to bring back the price reference point, I think at the time, right, when the last magazine was out, Salson Prime, which was my centerpiece for the magazine, Salson Prime was about I think about 85 dollars at the time in the market, and, Storm Drakes are worth way more, so, that's cool. And and hype, if you go for the premium edition, which means I think in the UK you pay 2 extra pounds, you get, you get Krondus, which is the big dragon centerpiece, and that's another, I don't know, $200. Awesome, right? That's good value. I hope it does work out well in UK, and they'll bring it out to the rest of the world so everyone else can also enjoy these amazing so that's really cool. Hype. Alright, I hit the wrong button. Okay, let's look at the next one. Regiments of Renown. Now the hype for this one, let's go over why I think this put a hype here. I think first time, I'm gonna state the obvious. My thoughts on this is they are just trying to get rid of boxes they couldn't really move very well before. Um, those Grossman archers, for example, in Sylvaneth, I mean, I play Sylvaneth. There's been big debates about them. Yeah, I don't know if many people using them. They're quite hard to use. They do have a place though. I think they are cool, but I don't know if they're moving very well, considering they're the new range they released recently. I mean, last year, the new 3.0 push. So this is clearly, to me, a blatant way to push models they have too much stock of somewhere. But then again, right, the fact that they're releasing new box, yes, they're trying to sell more models, but, they're trying to package it in a way, I think it's gonna be like, okay, this is my pure speculation, something like the Heart of the Incarnate of Gur. So they're introducing a whole new mechanic into the system and hoping it's gonna work. I it might work really well. But then the problem would it be like the Incarnate himself, last time when he was released, which is it's so good, everyone runs them. I mean, 50% of the people run them initially and, have a huge disadvantage. I don't know if this is gonna be the same. I can't really imagine that. Like, for example, 5 archers and an Arc Revenant, what are they gonna do? I don't know. So they could be introducing big new war scrolls, but I don't really see that happening. But I am hyped to see what, Games Workshop's gonna do with it, because besides the fact that they already introduced a new mechanic, the incarnates, I think a new one's coming, but, I haven't found too much on that, so I don't wanna put it to this episode, maybe the next one. Um, they're trying a lot of new stuff, and 3.0 is looking better and better. I mean, I didn't play 2.0, but I have spoken with a lot of people who's played the older Age of Sigmar, and even Fantasy, and 3.0, and I think 3.0, Age of Sigmar 3.0 is in a great place right now. And I hope for my friend's sake, they'll release the new books that they really need. So, yeah, it's just gonna good yeah, keep the good stuff coming. Alright, so the latest update for this last couple of weeks was this new battle tome in Age of Sigmar, the KO, as they call it, people call them online. I'm not so sure about the scope. Yeah, personal thing, I guess. Not a big fan of the scope, but I'm keen to see, what they can do with the tone. Now, why is it hype for me is I have never played against anyone who used KO as an army. Yes, I've had, roughly less than just under 20 games, but, the fact that nobody I've played with KO, I guess is a sign. So what I hope they would do is they would rework the whole tome, make it awesome, like some of the other new books, and then, yeah, people build armies, build new things, with these, sculpts. I think that would be cool. I look forward to playing more armies as opposed to playing, Stormcast, against Stormcast all the time, or demons and, Daughters of Cain. Yes, I use Daughters of Cain as well, but yeah, I wish there would be more armies to play against. So, yeah, there we go. This one, I'm not so hyped about, but I guess is worth talking about. Yes, yeah, I know we talk about plastic hype. So the hype is because Games Workshop had already announced they officially were going to increase the price as of 6th of March. Now I say that with a few quotes in there. They did say they're gonna increase the price, but then I heard they also, went another way on the US price release, because I think the US was bumping up in double digits. It was, causing a lot of unhappiness in the community, and then they thought about doing something else. Now, I don't know what that something else is, and I don't know what they're gonna do with Australia, whether Australia is gonna get the price bump as well. Now, there's a few items that I got from the article that they will definitely increase the price on is the plastic miniatures, yes, Forge World, which means, more miniatures, but raising and the expensive brushes and spray paints. And interestingly, not the other paints. So it doesn't say, contrast paint. They just released a huge, new range last year. Was it last year? Yeah, I think it was last year. So they're not gonna bump up the prices on those, but they're gonna bump up the spray paints. That's weird. To me, yeah, I don't know. That's a bit weird. It's almost as if they're pushing people to use different brands of, spray primer. I don't know. That's what I think. Why would they do yes, I understand inflation, everything's going up, but, the strategy here is a bit weird. So, the hype here is if you're gonna start a new army, as they say, "New year, new army." Now it's time to get another one, not after March. Alright, that's all I have to say about this one. Okay, now before I get to the other segment, I just wanna sum up what I'm saying here is, yes, we are going through a few different topics. I think this is my view of what I try to do here is to bring up these topics. If you don't know them already, or have different thoughts about it, you could now look it up, right? Because people have done videos, I don't know, 10, 20 minutes on one of these topics, each of these topics, or subtopic of that topic. Like, for example, the Warcry, the new releases of the new Warcry boxes. They're releasing a few boxes. Someone have done like 10-minute videos on a box. So I mean, you could spend ages going down that rabbit hole. So the whole point is just to bring up some topics like a roundup. Yeah, it's a roundup. It's not a detailed discussion. Just talking through what I think in terms of classic hype on the Age of Sigma. Okay, now let's move on to non-Age of Sigma hype. All right. Now, I already kind of showed this before, so this is not exactly plastic hype, but I mean, Duncan and Games Workshop history, blah blah. Now he's doing his own thing with uh, Transatlantic Games, doing this new paint. Probably not pronouncing the names right, but anyway, Duncan. I used to follow his painting guides when I first started painting non-Games Workshop stuff. And then when I started Games Workshop, painting stuff, he doesn't work there anymore. And then he did his own paint. Long story short, he, well, Tooth and Coat. Well, Tooth and Coats is Duncan. This guy on the left, he is, I guess, known as call sign, whatever, nickname. Um, they have branded the series of paint after him. So the series of paint is called Tooth and Coat as well. Those of us who's in the hobby who've watched his videos probably see the humor in that. Anyway, the hype here is that they released Duncan and Transatlantic Games released Wave One last year. And the key thing about their painting is they've simplified the painting process for people, even including myself, who've got I don't know if the camera's gonna be able to see this because I'm sharing screen right now. I can't see what's being shown. Like, I've got just racks of Games Workshop paint. I've transferred them to different dropper bottles and, I've got paint bottles and stuff. Um, anyway, so this series of paint is supposed to be, in triads. Now, what is a triad for people who don't paint? Um, it's you get the normal color that you want. So let's say I wanna paint something red. So I get the red base, and then I have to shade a darker version of that red for the shading part, and then I have a brighter color of that red for the highlights. So, try it. Man, I don't know why I'm using my hands instead of a slide. Next time, maybe I'll get a picture of it. So, when they release everything in triads, for a new painter, it's so much easier because when you go, "Oh, I want something green." Okay, you pick up the 3 triads for that. I want something, I don't know, baby blue, and then you pick up the triad for that. I think that's really clever. I know Games Workshop have all the ranges covered already. I've tried a few brands of paint, Vallejo, um, uh, Army Painter, and Games Workshop. And I tried a couple others, Scout 75 and another one I forgot the name of. And, anyway, I've tried a few, and I think this system is just clever, right? I don't think they're releasing paint that's super different to other people. Anyway, let's get back to the hype and summary of this, 'cause I don't get any commission from anyone for these videos, so I'm not gonna go too deep into that. The point of this is, when they did wave 1, I missed that because at the time it was, unknown paint, untested, mm, right up to the ending line, finish line of the Kickstarter campaign. I think people still were avoiding questions with the paint, and they weren't tested in the way that I feel comfortable spending all that money onto miniature paint, so I dropped out. Now Wave 2 is out, and Wave 2 just finished, and well, I mean, when I planned this video, it was still going. Now that I'm filming it, it's finished. But if you're interested in this triad system, this Wave 2, comes with you can get optional paint racks, which I think is a great idea, yeah. But, you can get the late pledge for this, and I think it is good, for people looking for paint. Now, to give you some context, I did the homework. So in Australia, if you wanna get one of these bottles, you have to get it from Etherworks. I think it's around $9 to $10 a bottle, right? Now, if you went through the Kickstarter, including shipping for us, it works out to about $5 to $6. So that is a huge difference, if you're in the market looking for paint. So that's all I'm gonna say about this one. Cool. Next one. I picked this one up because I'm subscribed to their newsletter. I thought it will do them justice to just mention it. This is Scale 75 paint. Yes, why I'm talking about paint because I'm painting a lot. Yep. And good paint is great. It makes our lives much better. So this is Scale 75, and they have a new system for what do you call this? Airbrushing. So I'm a traditional painter. Uh, Traditional painter. Look at me pretending to know something I don't. So I what I think is okay, I'm just gonna reach out. I've got heaps of brushes also on my table. Just okay. By traditional painter, I mean these. And this is brush I could yeah, we find in the supermarket $5 for 20, right? So first one I grabbed was this. This is for basic, so this doesn't have to do anything with airbrushing. But anyway, I'm not a big airbrush fan. I'm just talking about my hobby group before earlier last week. Oh, sorry, I still suck at airbrushing. But for the people who enjoy airbrushing, including my friend, I mean, this might be a good thing. So the way they have done this is it's just easier to use and easier to clean. That means you need less bottles of everything to get from a paint bottle into airbrush to spray out to mini. So traditionally, you have to put a lot of stuff in, like a thinner, airflow improver, maybe extra water, and then after you spray it, you gotta clean the head. It's, like, way too much work for me. So apparently, this is supposed to make the whole process easier. Now, I haven't used them before, so I can't speak for them, but I'm hyped about this. For the future me, who's gonna do airbrushing? Yep, at the moment, I don't. So there you go. Alright. And the last one I picked up was, bags and play mats. Now, why am I excited about this? Why am I hyped about this one? Some of you may not be. The first thing is, if you see the corner of, some of those mats on the left of the picture, they have lights in them. I know they do this for fancy mouse pad and, like, table mats. I think Razer did them and some other like, gaming companies do them, but not for board gamers. So they basically picked that idea up and do it for, board gamers. So it's just big mat. They come with lots of different sizes, which I think is cool. They also have circular table mats, which I think it's cool because I have a circular dining table here at home. Um, so it's really awkward. Every time I put a rectangular table and a circular table, it just hangs weird everywhere. Don't like it. So they do circular ones. I think that's cool. And they're also doing these glowing edges play mats. I don't know. Call me old school. That's kinda and, they also have these bags. Now, why I think it's worth mentioning them is because, um okay, uh, 4 months ago now, I was trying to get all my Age of Sigmar miniatures into an event where venue for an event where I can play my 2K army, and I had such a hard time transporting them. In fact, I'm thinking about doing a video about how to transport armies. I know a lot of people have done videos of them, but, I'm a nobody, I'm not sponsored, so maybe my voice count for someone something, I'm biased. But anyway, when I was trying to do that, man, I struggled so much, and I looked for different ways to do it. Here in Australia, I don't know why it's really hard to find a good way to do that. No, there's a company that, a lot of people use down here. Maybe I'll talk about it in another video, but anyway, yeah, it's hard to find containers to transport big board games and particularly for people like myself who is on a motorcycle, who doesn't have a big car, like, you can just throw everything in the boot or to the back seat or something. I have to find creative ways to handle that, and, this pack is pretty cool. So what it has is you can get, detachable backpack straps, just hook on and, yeah, wear it. I like that the fact that they're detachable, so when you're not using the backpack, you can just, store them somewhere else. That's cool. Of course, it has a sling, and it's got a compartment to, I guess, handle to carry a big mat and stuff like that. So I think that's cool. Is it the most amazing and, innovative design? Probably not, but I'm still excited about this one. I mean, I just got a solution, so I'm not gonna invest in this, but I think it's worth talking about for especially newcomers in the hobby, because it can be a real pain to find ways to transport your mats, and miniatures or board games, because miniatures is also in the board game miniatures category, right? And I have to transport a lot of them, so something to look into. Alright, so, next segment. Just looked at this picture today. Uh, so the next segment is what's up? What's been going on? What have I been working on in this plastic hype world? And of course, in our YouTube channel, level of the least. So we've just got Frosthaven, and yeah, it's a huge box. That is exactly 16.3 kilos, I think. Big box. Yes. How am I gonna fit that in to my life or physically at home to store this is a mystery, but we'll work because we're hyped on plastic. Alright, next one. So this is the army I just took to a 2K event, at DICE yesterday. Yeah, fresh, yeah. So, I ran 20 Dryads, um, 1 set of Kurnoth Hunter with Scythe. You can see they're here. Warsong Revenant, at the top here. I've got, 5 tree refs. Actually, I've got 2 set of 5 tree refs, 5's at the back there. Warsong, Revenant, Leader Vines, and 6 trees, and then Durthu, my hammer, and, Salison Prime. Now, this is a thematic army. I ran this army because of the book, Wardens of the Everqueen. Now, I'm not gonna spoil it for everyone, if you're gonna watch this. I mean, not watch it, if you're gonna read the book or listen to the book on audible, which I did. The audiobook was amazing. Salston Prime is in it, and he saves the day. That's all I'm gonna say, right? So, anyway, I took this to DICE yesterday, and, this was a game I played. I was gonna type some text in the corner, but I forgot. Never mind, I think I'll do that. So Tom, a great job. He's the, tournament organizer at Dice Arcade. This was my 2nd game against, Ogles. Um, that was a great game. That was really fun. So you can see my, general, Warsong Revenant down the back at the back, just casting Warsong buttons everywhere. Casting all the spells. Great fun. Um I mean, the event was great fun. Warsong was great fun. It's probably not great fun for the people who had to handle the Warsong bombs. With Warsinger, you can cast to everywhere where there's a tree around 9 inches, mortal wounds. So, yeah, that was great fun. Great event, by the way. If you haven't been to a Dice Arcade event, recommend check it out. Once again, unsponsored. I'm just saying it because it was cool, and I'm hyped about events. Hype. Next, the latest painting I was been working on is Ilario the Evergreen. I've actually got her downstairs here. Hey, yes, yeah, Ilario. Um, yeah, so she is the miniature that I'm working on right now. All right, okay, so let's oh, get back to the main one and stop presenting. I think it stopped presenting. Uh, Josh, I just caught up with your comments. Thanks for that. Yeah. Making fun of 40K. Yeah, okay. So this is Age of Sigmar hype. Sorry, Josh. I don't know enough to talk about 40K hype, except that I saw there was an audiobook. Well, he's a hype. It's not plastic, but there's a new book that's the beginning of the finale for the 30K universe. Something yeah. Anyway, I remember the pictures, like, kind of this huge pyramid-looking object with shiny lights. Someone can tell me what it is, in the future, or the future me can tell myself what it is. Anyway, yeah, there's the new 40K book. Actually, that will be 30K, not 40K. My bad. Forget everything I've just said in the last 5 but I was hyped about, more 30K stuff. I love okay, disclaimer, I love Horus Heresy. That's how I got started into the whole Warhammer thing, besides Total War Warhammer. I mean, when I played the computer game Total War Warhammer, it was just a computer game, right? It wasn't like a hobby for me at all. When I got into the first time I got into the Warhammer universe was Horus Heresy. And yes, they do have a lot of plastic, but I'd already played it. So not too much hype from me from that aspect. But yeah, yeah, okay, one day, Horus Heresy. Josh, one day. All right, now to move on to the hobby tip of this segment, of this session. So this session's gone a bit longer than I expected already. Well, thank you for staying with me. For those of you who are watching still, let me see. Yep. Okay. So the first tip, I didn't realize it was really a tip because me and my friends, my hobby group, talked about it, but no one realized it. And somehow the topic came up again, and yeah, talked about it again, and realized it's an actual tip. So here's the tip. All right, this may not be a real tip, but this is a tree lord. Tree lord is huge. Now, to put into perspective, I've got some props here. This is a little dry. This is one little guy, and that's a big tree lord. Tree lord is massive. Okay, as a miniature, he's massive. Now, what I've got here is a metal ruler, and I've stuck a few metal magnets onto this. I don't know because it's autofocus on my face, this camera, so you may not be able to see the magnets. So there's some magnets that are stuck on here, as well as this being a metal ruler. So what I do is I would magnetize my minis before I prime them, right? Or varnish them, and I can then put them upside down like that. So I'm not holding on to it, right? And this is strong enough for me to prime and varnish the miniatures. So this gives me a really quick and dirty way, literally quick and dirty, uh, way to prime and varnish my stuff because everything is magnetized. Because I have to magnetize them, travel with them anyway. And yeah, so anytime I feel like priming a mini, I just yes, I have to shake for 2 minutes, yeah. You have to shake the can, whatnot, but, the process of mounting these is super easy. Don't need tape, don't need blue tag, don't need, yeah, anything like that. So, I thought I'll share that as one tip. And the other tip, second tip I've got for today is, I found in a painful way, no, I found this tip via a painful experience, which you may know already, but if you are a, new painter or just getting in the hobby, you may not know this. Now, the thing is, when we paint with miniatures, typically we mount the miniature onto something because holding, what I mean is, holding this is tough. Holding this for hours is tough. So you might have something like this. I don't know why I have it readily on my table, right? Like a handle. So you can stick stuff on. Okay, this is not the way you use handle, by the way. That's just got blue tack here. I don't have the top here. But anyway, you mount it on something and then you paint, right? But sometimes you might not want to mount the whole thing onto a handle. I mean, you may not want to mount the whole thing with its base like this, and then paint it from here. And the reason is there are some models, it's a lot harder to get under the model. So, just showing the camera here, like, there's some angles after you've mounted it, it's not very easy to get to. Now this tree lord is pretty easy. I love this tree lord, by the way. Tree lords are awesome. I don't know if the camera's picking up because it's keep picking up my face. So, yeah. Anyway, the tree lord's are awesome. Um, sometimes we would paint miniatures without, um mounting it, yeah. So, how do we do that? Well, as a noob like myself, yeah, I'm a new hobbyist, I would hold it like this. I would just hold it, right? Like and I'm using Alario as an example because I have gone through the pain with Alario, this model I'm holding right here. So, as I'm painting her, I'll be holding her, I don't know, with her ankle on the back, yeah, on her head, yep. And, on her wings, yep. The other wing, on her hair, wherever I can get some leverage. Now, the problem with that I've learned a tough lesson, is my hands, I guess the human, skin do interact with paint. So, as I paint this, the paint is coming off the model as I paint another area of the model. So, for example, I was painting wings. And then I finish with the wings, and I hold the wings, and I paint her I don't know, her dress or her crown. And as I do that, I turn around and go, "What happened here?" The paint came off, but what's worse is sometimes it leaves these funny looking holes in the miniature. Is that a big problem? Well, it depends. If you're painting like, uh, command models, which, you get 100 miniatures in a board game. Yeah, fine, right? But if you're painting a centerpiece or something that takes, I don't know, 10 hours up, I mean, Lero is probably 40 hours up, um, you don't want to mess it up, especially you've just spent a lot of hard work and, finger painting finger pain because you're so focused getting some bits right, and then your other hand ruins it. Right? Okay. So all of this is to say, my second tip is wear some gloves or mount the model the best way you can on something else. My friend suggested, gonna credit him, John. John, suggested I pin the model onto something or use blue tag. Well, blue tag doesn't work for me. But anyway, the tip is if you're doing, delicate work, wear gloves or I have seen that with other, miniature painters online, like, for example, Vince, Hobby Cheating, he does do that as well. So yeah, if you're doing these, yeah, wear gloves or something like that, otherwise you'll regret it. You could spend more time fixing up your model in a session than actually putting paint onto your model. So there you go. That's my second tip, wear gloves. Alright. Now last thing is, to talk about what is, awesome. Shout out to the community. Yeah, um, I'm go I had something else in mind before. So instead of me talking through it, I'm gonna just bring this guy up. Now he's worth the 1 minute of wait that I set this up because he is amazing. I think he's really amazing, and his particular way of painting really, really resonated with me. Okay, so I'm gonna try to share my screen now. I'm gonna present, share screen. I'm going to share um, hopefully I share the right screen. Okay, alright. Am I? Yep, okay. Hopefully this is right. Yes. Alright, so I'm sharing this War Hipster page, okay? His name is War Hipster. I have just Googled him by accident. How I found him, I think, was I was trying to figure out how to paint, um, Daughters of Cain, the key piece, and that is the Shadow Queen, Morathi and the Shadow Queen. He introduced a method to me. He calls it the contrast plus. So you can see here, contrast plus, and his way of painting is a whole lot of contrast paints and some highlights in general. Okay, I'm way simplifying it, so maybe I'm not doing him justice, but this is how I think about it. He used a lot of contrast paints and just highlights and special shadows. Is it easier? I don't know, but I really enjoy that process. I really enjoy it, and, let me try to share it in a way that hopefully makes sense to you guys who's watching. So, the way he presents his paint is more relaxed, it's very calm, and so if you watch his painting videos of him, it's just very calm. He's not the same as Brent, for those of you who knows what I'm talking about, Brent, who has his own channel, he's like the calmest voice on YouTube paints that I ever known of. But, Wipster's really cool as well, like, just really laid back. He's got tons of painting videos. I wish he had one on Alarial, but he doesn't. I have to paint, my way. But, yeah, a lot of cool stuff. Like, you can see that I've watched the Idiots of Vine one. I have used that formula to paint her up, and it was really enjoyable. Um, I mean, is it the best painter? I don't know, right? I'm in no position to judge that, but, in terms of helping people get into the hobby, I think it's definitely worth it. That's what I'm saying. So big shout out to War Hipster, and, yeah, you're great. Thanks for, sharing your videos, War Hipster. Okay, now I'm gonna stop that. Now, last but not least, here's the roundup of this episode. It's gone a bit longer than I expected, so thank you for watching if you're up to this point. I do wanna share what I'm most hype about from all the stuff that I presented today. There's some competing ones there, but I think the most exciting one for me is the new magazine, Stormbringer, because I think it's just super good value, and I can foresee a lot of people are gonna be interested with this new, set of models, new sculpts. Um, what I mean by that is, yes, some of the units are great. I already mentioned it earlier. They've got some of my favorite pieces, the Garters and the Stormdrakes, but they have a lot of cool models, like, the older models, I think they're nice, but I think they're a bit too chunky for my liking. The newer Stormcast model, like the Vindictors, um, the Vigilers, may not have the best war scrolls, but man, the models are cool, and I think that alone will help to bring some people into it. Plus the orcs, yeah, the crew boys. If you forget their battle tome, which is their, uh, how good they actually play competitively, their sculpts are really cool, yeah? The new sculpts are just cool. So, I do hope they'll bring a lot more people into the hobby, and I'm super hyped about that, so I wish them all the success in the UK, so they'll bring it up to the rest of the world. Now, was that also what you're most hyped about? Do you have something else that you're hyped about that I presented, or do you have something else that you're hyped about that you know of that I didn't mention before? Love to hear it. Yeah, give us a comment, and that's it. Thank you for watching. Thank you to the first episode of Hobby Hype on plastic, which we call Plastic Hype. Welcome to this, joining us. I hope the future episodes will be smoother and, will bring more value to you guys. Thank you for watching. Thanks for your time. Appreciate it, and, live up together. I'll see you in the future.